it's a great time to be a writer. It's also difficult times to be a publisher and to be an author who's published, because of course Borders has just gone bust. There is the enormous power of Amazon and online selling and supermarket selling as well. And the fear about what the future of the book is, if you like, because of e-readers.
I mean, it's huge changes afoot, but I think they'll affect the generation coming up after me much more than they'll affect my generation, because I've already made it. You know, I'm in print, I've got lots of books there on the shelves of physical bookshops, but we're now starting to move into a digital age.
This book, I know, it's being retailed at a certain price. Amazon is undercutting that substantially. I mean, a huge percentage saving. So obviously, more books, I guess, that are sold on that basis, but of course it does undermine or makes very confusing the economy of the industry. And bookshops, of course, have a tough time, and I suppose that does percolate down to the publishers themselves. I mean, I don't think they quite, know what a book is worth.
Booksellers are having a hard time because of what's happening online, but frankly, the well-run, enthusiastic booksellers whose staff love books will keep going, you know?
One of the real wonders of a bookshop is that you generally, whatever it is you go in to get, you come up with something else as well. Some other thing that has caught your eye, something related to it, something maybe on the same subject, maybe on something completely other subject. But it's a sort of a resource, a bookshop, like a library, a resource of everything that's available.
You've got people like Google who want to digitize every book in the world and put it in a kind of virtual library, and people can borrow them or buy them or download them, and eventually you'll get file sharing, and eventually you'll get the kind of situation you get in the music industry. So books, printed books at the moment, there's a lot of wariness. We don't know, publishers especially just don't know what's going to happen next. Are bookshops going to die off? Are we going to get to a situation like we have with record shops just going to the wall and people are just buying their stuff online?
I think it's terribly important that there's a physical bookshop. No doubt virtual bookshops, no doubt virtual everything. I mean, no doubt people will just be, having virtual breakfast and making virtual love and I don't know what else, but personally I don't like it.
Eventually we'll maybe just have this nice mobile phone, and on our mobile phone we'll be reading our books and listening to our music and taking photographs and making phone calls, and the physical book will have disappeared. So I'm kind of worried about that, because I like books. I think that physical artifact is irreplaceable.
Books are lovely things. People want to hold books. You can get the information many other ways, but this book I think is nice to produce. Nice paper, nice to touch, and also it kind of, it's like a door. It creaks like a door into the past. Just a nice thing. So I think people, just like to hold a book, take a book to bed. You can do it conveniently, take it around with you. I think books as objects, are here. People, I love books. I have many books just as objects. I think in a sense, it overrides the kind of the crude economy of the thing. People can get information elsewhere, but they want to buy books, they want to hold books. They want to have books signed by authors like me, like today.
I'm rather old-fashioned. I have a great love of the physical book. I love having a book in my hand. I love print. I love the paper it's printed on. And I love the act of taking the book away with you somewhere, sitting down and going into the world of the book. I perfectly understand how practical and useful things like e-books are, because you can order any book that you want and you've got it in 60 seconds. And for me, as a writer, as an actor, as a director, that can be very useful sometimes. If I want an obscure book that I couldn't otherwise get and I can get it in 60 seconds for, £5, then that's absolutely fantastic. Personally, the idea of reading books off a screen is unbearable to me. No doubt technology is such that it'll, whether I care about it or not, it'll happen anyway.
Another thing is these e-readers. If you're going to the beach on holiday, you're not going to leave it while you go for a swim. It's a £200, £300 thing, the way you would a £6 paperback or a £5 paperback. So I'm not sure how many people are going to get on board. And reading on a screen is very tiring. It's much more tiring than reading on the printed page.
What I think is, as a writer, is that it's about the story. It doesn't matter whether you read it on a screen or between the covers, actually. And that a lot of particularly young men and boys are, you know, alienated by a physical book. They associate it with work and all of those sorts of things. But you know what? They're playing computer games that are totally about story. And so I see that there's a great opportunity for e-readers. It's going to get more people to reading stories, it seems to me. And then they might read a book. I don't think it's going to stop those of us who like books, physical, you know, physical books that smell like books. It's not going to put any of us off.
I think that the book is such a great piece of technology that it's not going to be replaced by something with batteries that you have to plug in. You know, it is so flexible, so easy to use, you can take it anywhere. As I say, you don't have to recharge it or stick batteries into it. And it's a beautiful object, so the book is not going to go.
But maybe with the internet, what we'll get is we'll get sort of just new ways of getting the word out there. So young writers will be able to maybe give sample chapters on their websites in the hope that people want to download the whole thing and will pay to download the whole thing. You'll get a lot more small publishing because it'll be very easy to publish ebooks eventually. It'll be, you know, small publishers can come and go from people's bedrooms, the way that book dealers and record dealers now exist in their house or in their bedroom and do it all through various websites. So I think in the next it might not even be 5 years, next 2, 3, 4, 5 years, there's going to be huge changes. And partly it depends on which technology wins out in the e-reader stakes, because there's about 4 or 5 competing gadgets at the moment, and who knows what's just around the corner.
I don't think we should be too dismal about it. We're not going to be living in a world where people are simply reading electronic screens, and we're not going to be living in a world, I promise, where there are no bookshops.